I mean, do you think racing is going to follow that trend? Like now, we're using more and more biofuel, obviously, in the diesel mixture.
Yep.
I mean, do you think we're going to be experimenting with more and more differing technologies, differing alternative fuels, like maybe hydrogen?
I think we are, and I think that we should, and I think motor racing is a appropriate and best platform to do it. And sports car racing is the one place where you have got the option of a variety of beliefs, if you like.
Right.
And we strongly believe that diesel is not the next generation of fuel, but it's now.
Yeah,
it is here and now.
Yeah.
And you said about the bio side of it. When we first started, there was a gas to liquid content of the diesel that we were using, which is actually on the Shell V-Power diesel that you can buy in the pumps. But also then the second generation was biomass to liquid, which meant that basically there was biodegradable mass product that was actually in the diesel, which I found a bit odd really, because I was, they said it was like wood and wood chip and all that sort of thing, and I was thinking of old cupboards and bits and pieces actually producing this in our racing car. And this was not just to race, it was to go to the world's hardest race, the Le Mans 24 Hours, and to win that. And I think it's now the time is right, the technology is right, it's here, it's developable, and also I think that the world is open enough in their mindset to accept that change is required and change is here. Yeah,
particularly in the rest of the world, right? Would you say we're late bloomers here, right?
I think it's in the whole world, but here is a perfect market for the type of technology that Audi is producing, because you just look at it, you like to have power,
right?
But also you do long distances, so you need power and you need fuel economy. You get the power through the torque, you get the fuel economy by the fact it's diesel, and when you're on, say, at 70 miles per hour on the highway, you're getting probably a 30-40% benefit over gasoline at that point. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, your RPMs are in half too.
Just everything about it, and it's something that's been an untapped secret, I would have said, over here. It's in, like, Europe, as I said, we've been used to it. In fact, in France, where I live, about 75% of all cars sold are diesel, and have been for 10 years. It's not as if it's just happened, it's been for a long period of time. Other markets around about the world are also tapping into this right now. They're learning the benefits of it.
Yeah, I think there's an education that we have to have here and get the public used to it.
It's always a case of, where your history comes from, and in timing as well. And obviously right now with the new administration in the White House, with the different regulations that are going on, with the push on the environmental side of it, with the fact that when we were here at Petit Le Mans in 2008, gas prices were pretty high in September, and you heard people in the news complain. In fact, Atlanta as a state were running out of fuel at that point because people were stocking up on fuel because they thought the prices were going high. It was a bizarre situation for me, coming to see this hysteria to some extent over prices that I thought were actually still pretty cheap in comparison to what I was used to.
They're about half, right? That's crazy. Getting back to racing, just in terms of strategy. How have your strategies differed? I mean, are you able to, say you're coming out of a corner and you intend to pass somebody. Are you able to you're able to do that in a shorter length of time? Are you passing where you wouldn't normally have passed?
You pass in safer positions. Okay, regulations have changed since we first introduced the diesel, and they're basically handcuffing the potential to some extent. But you have got a tricky sort of thing to combine, because you want to try and get that overtake done as quickly as possible in a short shoot, for example. But you can't just in the middle of the corner nail that throttle, because you've got so much torque that the rear can't keep up. And it was one of the big challenges for us, was to harness that potential, to harness that torque and power, and to be able to use it. And slowly now, we're 4 years down the line, we've understood it, we've developed better throttle responses, different turbos and things like that to utilize the performance better in a wider range, and made it more drivable and tractable. But at the same time, we've also developed a traction control system.
Yeah, that's a lot of that's down to electronics.
And that is something that was unique again, because nobody had ever done a diesel for racing. So nobody had ever done a diesel traction control system for racing, because you hadn't done it. And so therefore we had to sort of go into that big box of, well, how do we do it? Do we do it like this? And it was really quite exciting going through that. And it took us a year of racing to actually even get it on the car for one event. And when we did, it just helped us to unlock extra potential, and to unlock the potential of being able to overtake coming out of the turns, get it done and dusted, and not have to do the last gasp braking effort down the inside. And over a long race, I can tell you that, plus also the fact that the other advantages of the fact that you're, I would say, in a position to overtake more often means that your traffic issues are less. Then you add in the fact that the noise fatigue of the fact that it's much quieter
is a huge factor.
Is a big factor of a 24-hour race. You don't realise it until you've not had that noise in your ear for a long period of time. And ultimately, you don't stop in the pits as often. We managed to sort of pull in 3 straight Le Mans victories in 2006, 7 and 8 when we were, I would say, pioneering the first leading edge of that sort of diesel charge.
Let's see, what else do I have here? I mean, I think we've pretty much covered it here. That's the basic.
I think the one thing is, as well, just adding on, is that Audi's been very good, I would have said, is combining racing and road cars. And using the technology that's gleaned on the track onto the road. And it's not just, I would say, for PR value, it's true. FSI was developed at Le Mans, straight onto the road cars. TDI onto the road cars. Quattro is another example from rallying. But there's also the mentality of developing things. And this comes from the top. It doesn't come by accident. It actually comes from the fact that Audi is an engineering company. You know, the board members are pretty much all engineering background, and when we turn up at Le Mans, we're not turning up alone as Audi Sport, we're turning up en masse as Audi. And this year is a perfect example that there's 3 or 4 of the board members stood in the pits for 24 hours.
That's amazing.
They didn't come into the hospitality, sip a glass of champagne and go off and the private jet back to wherever. They actually were there. They lived it with us. And they live everything we do with us, whether it be Sebring 12 hours or Petit Le Mans in 1 month's time, or Le Mans 24 hours, or whatever far-flung race. They are actually there, in not necessarily always in body, but definitely in mind. And that side of things, I think, is really coming through now into the road cars, and you can feel that. I would say the bloodline of racing is very much the bloodline of the road car, in the styling, in the aggressive nature, in the technology, and I don't think there's any better place to look at it than the R8 V10.